Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Ethics First Live, where we bring food for thought for ethics first leaders, leaders who put people above profits. And we are going to talk. Today's topic is going to be on ethics bounty systems. So let me bring my panelists here from the Data Ethics for All leadership team. We have Susanna here today. Hi, Susanna.
Hi Shilpi. Hi everyone.
I think you're on mute.
No, can you not hear me?
Oh, hi, Susanna. No, you're not on mute. I was on mute because I was typing. So I had muted myself, and that's why I couldn't hear you. So good. How are you? Hello.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So Sam had some technical difficulty with the audio. I know she joined earlier and she's trying to quickly come up again. But in the meantime, let's not keep our audience waiting. And so today's topic is a very interesting topic. It's about the ethics bounty system. So let's start with what is an ethics bounty system?
I mean, it's just basically the way I understood it is just basically hunting for bugs in a code or bugs in a program or a public website or in a AI model. I mean, it started with websites, I believe, in the past, and now it's into AI models. So you find a bug or you find a vulnerability in that, and they give you a reward for it.
Yeah, and my understanding is that yes, so this bugs for code, like for code to find bugs in the code, has been there for some time, but now they're bringing it into the AI systems. Like, how do you find, because AI systems, until you deploy, you don't know what the, like, not really bugs, but the way it is affecting the audience, the people that it was intended for, and it can cause a lot of harm, as we both know, right? To like the protected audience, and you cannot know that until you actually have all different perspectives from different people. And so that's why there is something called the ethics bounty system, where tech companies are coming up with ways to encourage people from different economic, social economic backgrounds, gender, races, like everyone, that it's actually the software or the app or the platform or the toolkit is intended for, and they get to test it out and report bugs in terms of, it's not, the algorithm is not right, the data is incorrect. It doesn't necessarily mean the code. In this case, it's about the AI system, right?
Mhm.
So why do you think it's important to have such a system in our today's AI world?
I mean, there are like a lot of reasons given for that. When you try to find a bug or find, an ethics violation from within the team, you have a certain bias. You are just not just in the same way we are not able to catch our own typos. We
Yes,
cannot catch our own mistakes because now we are so embedded in the process, in the idea itself. We can't even see what the vulnerability is and what is the other group that we are discriminating against.
yes,
So giving this to an outside group or a group of individuals who don't have that same loyalty to the group will be able to actually find it quite easily, and they can be very open and transparent in how they attempt to bring this to our attention. And the another great impact that I see is that because now you are opening this up to a wider diversity of people. It's not
yes,
just, I'm just opening this, ethics bounty to only USA. It's just all over the world. So
yes,
everyone can find a vulnerability that is against their own community and
yes.
bring it to the attention. So I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And so, just like you said, right, when this is being developed, when these AI systems are developed, nobody develops them with a bad intention, right? Nobody can think, it's not sometimes even possible to think of all the scenarios that it could create harm. And so having these different voices and backgrounds, diverse voices to be able to contribute to the project will, and with the bounty, it encourages people to, spend time on it and find ethical violations. So the merit of this is that we can get to these violations or ethical problems sooner, and then instead of going through the approach of announcing it on social media or taking the legal route, um, people can actually reach out to the tech companies themselves and report these, where tech companies can take action. So it's a win-win. Like, instead of having a PR nightmare, here people are helping them to find the bugs, helping them to solve these problems, and reporting it from like the diverse backgrounds that they come from, right? So yeah, I think it's a great idea, and more of it should be implemented. And what are some of the great tech companies or examples that you have seen in terms of adopting of these ethics bounty systems?
I think pretty much all the big companies now have a program like this, including Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Google. I mean, they all have a bounty system, ethics bounty system, and Twitter is the one of the major ones that
Yes.
announced recently. But I
Yeah.
think they all have this program in place.
Yeah. And so Twitter, yeah, their Meta team, basically, which is their machine learning, ethics, transparency, and accountability team, created this recent AI algorithm bounty. And I was reading through this ISIS, that one. It was initially for the cropping scenario of how the image cropping was done, and somebody brought it to their attention that it was not. It was favoring the white faces more than the darker ones. And so even with Barack Obama's photo, they proved that, he was being left out of this frame. But as they created this bounty, and I read through this research where, the prizes were given, and there were so many other um, issues that came up, and they were awarded because those were not even intended, nor were they surfaced unless this bounty system was created. So it's like a great idea, and there's a whole list, of things that came up with that. So I think it's a wonderful idea. And now Google has also started implementing that for the Google Play Store, right? Yeah. So it's not only the code that they are implementing, they are also providing a bounty for anybody who is able to find a bug in any of their Google Play Store apps, which is the next step. And Apple has been doing it. Apple has created, they have these rules for their normal code, which is that you must be the first to report it, and you must clearly explain and show evidence for it, and you can't disclose publicly unless Apple gets a chance to fix it, and you can get a bonus if the company reintroduces a known problem into a new patch. And all of these things that are already there, they can easily take this and implement it for an ethics bounty program for their AI systems, which makes sense. Like, you can't publicly slash them on social media, um, tarnish their reputation, and get the bounty, right? It's like you can't have everything. So your cake and eat it too. So you have to first report to them, give them a chance to fix it. Do you want to add anything to this, Susanna?
So yeah, definitely there is one aspect of that. I mean, they get to see the vulnerability or the bias in the system, and they get to fix it. But I am also wondering, like, was there a major ethical violation because of this vulnerability, and they quickly fixed it, patched it up? But does the public get to know the impact of if that was already launched? Do they get to know the impact of it? Is there transparency around it?
That is a good point. So what you are trying to say is, if somebody finds a vulnerability and they report it directly to the tech company, and the tech company fixes it, will there be a public report after that? Or will it be just a hush hush swept under the rug?
Yeah, because it could have already impacted some communities. Maybe my data was breached and it was sold to somebody, but they fixed the vulnerability, but I
Mm,
didn't know about it. So how, what is the transparency there? And is does the bounty system cover that? Does the
mm.
bounty ethics system cover
It is
that?
a good question, and I think this could be a great question for our audience as well as the some of the tech companies who are coming up with such bounty systems. I guess what we are trying to say is yes, the system works. It's great that you are asking for a community help, like crowdsourcing of finding the problem in your solution, right? So that is great, a great first step. But then let's go one step further. Let's not just sweep it under the rug. And because you say, oh, we'll give you the bounty and you can't say anything about it until we get this fixed, how will this person who has raised this flag know, first of all, that you fixed it? Will you make a public statement about it? Will you let that person know privately that you've fixed this and this is what you've done? And then will you release a public statement announcing to the world that this was a vulnerability that one of the some people found, these are the steps we have taken for it, and these were the communities affected, and going forward, this will not be done. So there needs to be a clear, closed loop process for this to be like a foolproof method.
Yes, I do agree with that. I think that is the next step. I mean, this is the right step in the right direction, but we need to move a little bit more further to help bring transparency to any process. Mistakes can happen. I don't believe that we can be a society without mistakes, even in building anything.
True.
Engineers build bridges, even they have faults and they crumble and fall down, but mistakes happen anywhere in the process. But transparency around it is what an ethical community would, like our community would demand
With
from
them.
the tech.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I don't know how much, like, I know you shared some of it, but what if we started a database of, getting these, asking people to report any of these bounty system, ethical bounty systems, especially for AI that they find, and also any vulnerabilities that they find. I know there are some who do this already, but what if we could do something where people feel comfortable to report this? And then, we are able to work with the tech companies to figure out a way to make sure that this has been resolved. So an independent body that is saying exactly what you touched upon, like it cannot just be a report to them and be done. Like then we don't know if any step was taken after that. So an independent body like Data Ethics for All per se, or any other independent body, would be like the mediator to understand if, what were the steps that were taken and were they enough, and kind of a regulatory body to understand if, it was exactly done the way it was supposed to be, and now that harm has been
Yeah, I think that would be really great to have, because right now we have AI incident reporters and databases that track, vulnerabilities and incidents, or impact adverse impacts of AI. There are systems that track that, but there are no systems like this. Like there is a bounty hunter, and then they found a vulnerability, and the company fixed it. And then what happened to the impact prior to somebody finding out this vulnerability, and what happened after? There
yes.
is no transparency around it. If an independent organization can go and build a database or bring some transparency around it, that would be a great service to the public.
All right, so you second that we should move in that direction.
Yes, we should.
All right. Well, last question for today. So, you know how there are in software code, and I know I'm a software engineer and married to another one, so there's always, these bugs that are under critical issues that you find in software development. It's you put them under critical issues, and they are at different priority levels, and red and orange zones, and all of that, right? It's all color coded, and it's all different priority levels, and it's supposed to be critical. If there is a bug in the code, it's critical. Do you think a bug similar to a bug which is an ethical violation, or it causes harm, the AI systems that cause harm, is not directly there is a problem in the code, but it could be grouped, or it should it be grouped as a critical issue if there is an ethical violation in an AI system?
Yeah, I think it should be. I think we should have a classification like that. So it, tells us what is the most adverse impact ones are the most critical, and
Yes.
then go down the list of the least impactful. And yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too, because we may think that this code is not creating harm, but the bias in AI can cause harm to so many different, again, protected and marginalized communities and people, that we need to make sure that this doesn't happen. And yes, we are all looking for tech regulation, but that's going to take time, as well as it's not a foolproof method to catch everything. And so the ethics bounty system that does not rely on either bashing the companies on social media or filing for legal battle, or waiting for new regulation to take place. I think the bounty system is less damaging, it's more beneficial. It's one of the most practical approaches to regulating this that we have seen. And like you touched upon, it's a global system, where in non-native English speaking countries, where there are things that happen, they are swept under the rug, or because it's not predominantly affecting the United States, not much action is being taken against it. So if we have an ethics bounty system, and if we are able to classify them as critical issues, things that people have crowdsourced as a community across the globe, I think that is a great step moving forward in building the next generation of AI systems that are ethical, transparent, and making sure that the tech companies are accountable.
So,
Anything you would like to add to it, Susanna, before we wrap up?
no, nothing at all. I mean, I think this is also a call for action. So anyone in the audience wants to join us in helping build this thing out, you are welcome to come and talk to us. So
Yes. Absolutely. And great call to action, Susanna. Thank you for adding that. We are always looking for very dedicated and passionate volunteers who are passionate about this mission, who are passionate about the problem and want to bring a solution. So we are not the type who will just talk about the problem, but we are solution focused. And so we just touched upon one of the solutions that we would like to implement, and we would love all of your help in coming together as a community in taking this first step. So we invite you to join us, and join us in creating a better ethics first world. Thank you, everyone. The QR code is over here for you
oh yeah, I got it right. Okay, I have to move this way.
to join our community. And it's dataethics4all.org. Please join us, join our community, and join us for these weekly live talks when we bring food for thought for ethics first leaders every week, Thursday, Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific. But next week is an exception because we are going to take a Thanksgiving break. And so everyone, wish you all a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Grateful for everything that Data Ethics for All and this community has brought us together, and this platform that we are here today for sharing. Thank you, Susanna. I'm grateful for you and for everything that you're doing for Data Ethics for All, and for being my friend, and for coming into my life, and for, taking on this um, rocket of ethics, leading the ethics that we have started on this journey together. With that,
Thank you, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.